Good evening and welcome. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Happy middle of the week. The halfway point between what was supposed to be, what is, and what is yet to be. Our intention is that if you need a little lift, if you need a little faith, if you need a better understanding of your relationship with Spirit, well, that's why I'm here. And you are so very welcome to join us. I like to think that we are a kind of spiritual break in the middle of whatever is going on in your life. A time to regroup, reorganize, and remember that you are never, ever really alone. To get us all playing off the same page, I invite you to take a moment and repeat after me. Or if you're not comfortable doing that, just listen to the words. There is a creative, motivating power in the universe.
There is a creative, motivating power
Smart
in the
aleck.
universe.
It is the intelligence
It is the intelligence
and the power
and the power
behind all of creation.
behind all of creation.
It is the life within me.
It is the life within me.
I know it.
I know it.
I believe it.
I believe it.
I feel it.
I feel it.
And so it is.
And so it is.
So, what is going on in your life? How's your body, your mind, your spirit? And how is that supporting or getting in the way of you being all that you could be? And what might you be in the world if nothing was standing in your way? I believe that you can be that now, if you choose. You have the possibility, you have the power. All you have to do is call upon it. Who shall we be? Shall we be whiners and complainers? I mean, where will that get us? And where will that get the world we live in? I think it's time to stop whining and complaining or making excuses for why we can't do whatever that is right now. Time for us to roll up our spiritual sleeves and get to work. Time for us to be large enough to get past our grievances. Time for us to care enough to be involved. Time to stop littering our minds with things we can do nothing about, with debris from the past, or tying ourselves into knots because of what others have done or not done, or what we have done or not done. Our minds will create tomorrow because it is done unto us as we believe. Let us enlighten our minds with our visions and dreams of the future. Let us know that there is a power for good in the universe, and we can use it. So let me take a minute and check in. Tina's having a happy bake yourself day. Well, it was hot enough, wasn't it? Oh, good evening, Brenda. Hi, darling. How are you feeling? Tina misses Spirit. We have a resident cat named Spirit, and he's highly likely to just parade through at any moment, so oh, you're feeling great, Tina. I got it. Yeah. Rheumatoid arthritis, sciatic nerve. Oh, I went through that last week. But you know it's gone now. It's gone now, and I'm grateful. And I think it is too, because I probably called it some very unpleasant things while it was hanging around, and I don't think it felt at all welcome. So, it's an interesting world, don't you think? I find myself thinking that more and more all the time. If you've had a chance just below where my head is talking on Facebook, there's a picture of the New York skyline that was sent to me this afternoon. I believe it was taken live. It may or may not have been, but I think it probably reflects what the skyline looked like tonight. And it was sent by someone I care very much about, who just wanted to say, look, I noticed. And the picture I just found amazing. It is so peaceful and serene and has a sense of spirituality about it in a way that I cannot quite explain, except that it seems to me to be so self-evident. It is as though the moon is watching over the people, whether they know it or not, whether they are aware of the beauty and the wonder and the awesomeness of what is going on around them. And I found myself wondering how many people noticed, how many people looked up and saw what was there. You could not help but feel more peaceful, more part of something bigger, standing under that moonlit sky. And how many people noticed? How many people were so busy looking down on their lives and whatever was going on, or so busy with what their things are that were going on, that they never stopped to look up. I invite you all, those of you on the West Coast, we're not there yet, so you still have an opportunity to look up, to remember that there is more going on in your life and around your life than just what you may be focusing on in the moment. That something spectacular may be waiting right around you if you'll just look to the stars, look to the skies, see the awesomeness, the vastness, the unlimited space that calls to you. Yeah, take the time to do that, would you? I mean, maybe it's a favor for me, but it'll end up being a favor for you. Take a moment and look up. And remember that there's more to life than maybe just where your nose is pointed in the moment. Okay? Okay. So, having said all that, I'd like to tell you a little story tonight. Some of you already know it because you were there, but I'm going to tell it anyway. It starts with once upon a time because most good stories do, don't they? So, once upon a time, there was a lady minister who lived in the city of Burbank, California, and she loved her job. Loved it so much, in fact, that she went 7 years without taking a vacation. Then, one day after the 7 years had passed, her board president and vice president took her to lunch and said, "We don't know if you've noticed or not, but we think you've pushed yourself a little too far. You've been getting sick a lot. You've got asthma. You're tired. And you're getting cranky. And you really need to take a vacation." But she said, "I go to Asilomar every year." Asilomar is Religious Science Adult Summer Camp, if you would. "Sure," they said, "and you take half the church with you, and you do a workshop, and put on a party for the congregants, and put on church appreciation night. all within a week, and then you'd drive back and do church on the following Sunday. That doesn't sound like much time off. Hmm, she said, but I love it. And I would take some time off, but there are classes to teach and people to counsel and Sundays to talk. I'm needed here. You have practitioners to counsel, they said. And as for the business end of things, we'll take care of that for you. But I'm going to Asilomar in just a couple of weeks, she said. And then, they said, you're going to take another couple of weeks off. Everything will be all right here, we promise, they said. So one Sunday afternoon, after church, of course, she got in her car and drove to Asilomar, where she gave a workshop and put on a party and organized and directed and emceed church appreciation night and sat on some ministerial panels and helped run a ministers association meeting and had a meeting with the council of the ministers association and was very busy all week long doing minister things. Although she did stop in and pray in Sanderling, which was the prayer room. But on Saturday afternoon, when Asilomar was over, she got in her car and started driving north. She didn't know exactly where she was going. She hadn't planned anywhere or made any reservations. But she just knew in her heart that north was the right direction. So she drove and she drove straight up Highway 1, which is beautiful. She stopped in Watsonville and bought some artichokes because that is, after all, the artichoke capital of the world, and they're just somehow bigger and better there. And then she drove some more, having no clue where she was going, but somehow knowing she was on the right path. Soon there were redwoods, her favorite trees. And then she saw a sign that said Roaring Camp Railroad. A railroad in the middle of the redwoods. Oh, well, that had to be checked out. So she turned off Highway 1 and headed toward whatever trees and or adventure might lie ahead. What she found was a sweet little town called Felton and Henry Cowell Redwood State Park. And deer and a creek and some peace. And a lodge that had cabins. There was only one available that night, and it was much bigger than she needed. But it was kind of late by then, and they were happy to be able to close the place up, so they said, it's yours. And it was literally right next to the Redwood Park. So she took the cabin and she stayed for 2 nights and loved every minute of it. And then she had to leave because there was no room at the inn. The place was booked. So she got in the car and headed norther all the way to Santa Rosa and more redwood trees. But somehow they just weren't the right redwood trees. So after driving around for a little while, she found a payphone. Yeah, that'll tell you how long ago it was. And she called the manager of the cabins and asked if she could come back. And they said, yes, but the big cabin is, and she said, oh, I don't care if it's the big cabin. They said, well, if you don't mind a smaller cabin, and she said, I'll take it, and she turned around and drove back to Felton and the redwoods. and the deer and the creek. And she stayed there for the rest of the week and walked in the redwoods every morning and every late afternoon. She also went back there every summer for the next 7 years. It was healing. The asthma went away, and so did the dark circles under her eyes. Oh, yeah, and the crankiness. When she first got there, she was only able to walk 50 feet into the forest before she had to sit down and breathe. A few years later, she walked 5 miles through the mist in the trees every morning. The first year, she had only allowed herself a week away. 7 years later, she was taking 2 weeks. And although she couldn't wait to get back to her spiritual family, she hated leaving her beloved trees. They taught her a lot. She learned, in fact, that Shakespeare was right. This our life exempt from human haunt finds tongues in trees, books in the running brooks, sermons in stones, and good in everything. But one of the most important messages she got in the woods was that you can't stay in the woods forever. Well, you can. But a big part of life is waiting on the path that runs just outside the woods. And that's where you're meant to take what you learn there. Miracles happened in those woods. Physical healing, emotional healing, even a burning bush experience. Some of you have heard me tell about it, and if you haven't, well, stick around. I will again someday. If there's a heaven on earth, I know exactly where it is and how to get there. Now, let me change gears for a minute. What if the woods are actually a metaphor for our lives? Which they are. And what if the woods were not spelled W-O-O-D-S, but W-O-U-L-D-S? And what if the woods we all need to come out of are our I would buts? As in, I would, but I don't have the money, the time, the energy. I would, but I didn't get the education, the information, the breaks. I would, but I'm not old enough, or young enough, or smart enough, or healthy enough. Or my personal favorite, I would, but who would replace me? Or whatever your would might be. See, here's my theory. If you're willing to fess up to it, if you're willing to really look at your life and into your heart, the real reason, if you believe what you say, that there is only one life and that life is God's life and that life is your life, the real reason is either that you don't believe that your life is God's life, or you don't believe God can do it. So let's look at what you believe. What do you believe? What you focus on the most, where your thoughts dwell, where your attention is the greater amount of time, there is what you believe in. If you are constantly thinking about how much or how little you have, or how much more you need, what you believe in is lack, no matter how much you may deny it. If you spend a lot of your time focused on how you need someone in your life to make you feel complete, what you believe in is your loneliness, or your unworthiness to have love in your life. If you spend a lot of time feeling insecure and unsafe in your world, what you do not believe is that you are a place where God is. When we are living lives that are anything less than the demonstration of our dreams, we are, to some extent, putting our faith in something other than God. It isn't negative faith. It isn't the opposite of faith. Faith is neither negative or positive. What it is creative. And when we put our faith in a limiting idea, that's where it stays and what it does until we change it. When we say, I would but, we are in fact revealing that we have put our faith in whatever word or statement follows the word but. We've got to get off our butts. We've got to wake up and smell the forest, or see the mountaintop, or hear the ocean, or remember the desert, whatever works for you. We've got to wake up and remember spirit. Remember, rejoin, reconnect on a conscious level to the power of the universe, which is all there is, and which is all you are. That which is capable of doing anything, everything, and that which is willing to do anything for you, through you, will do that as soon as you allow it. And you allow it through your belief. Through your belief, it can and it will fill your pocketbook, your heart, your mind, your body, your life with good beyond your greatest imagining. As soon as you step out of the woods and onto the path. The stepping looks like this. You put one foot down and pick the next one up, and you move in the direction of your highest good. You step out of the woods, which are there to help heal and teach you, and take what you have received there and step back into your life. It's all about having the courage to go forward, about putting one foot out in front with the intention to create, to forge the path if you can't see it. Step out, step up. And in that moment you will realize that the path comes up to meet you. There is a power for good, the power of God. And it is capable of doing the most amazing, outrageous, miraculous things, not just for us, but through us. If we will only stop making excuses and start truly believing. In the beginning, God. And nothing else. Just that. Today, now, God, Spirit, creation, and nothing else. It can be anything. It is everything, and it can be everything in our lives if we will start believing in it. If we will stop and think and change our minds. If we will move from, I can't, I'm afraid, to, I will, I am. If we will stop making commitments and start keeping them, not just to others, most of us are actually pretty good at that, but keeping our commitments to ourselves. If we will stop living in someday and arrive totally in today, leaving yesterday and all of its baggage behind us, and knowing that if we believe today, tomorrow will take care of itself. Now, be aware, if you are willing to believe at this level, your world will change. You will be healthier, you will be happier, you will be more successful, more peaceful, more abundant, more joyous. It's really about setting your intention to do or to be something bigger, brighter, more aware, more connected to your higher self. And not letting anything shake that. Making that intention as clear as you possibly can make it. Mostly to yourself. But sometimes also to others. So they know who they're dealing with. And then having immersed yourself in your intention and your commitment to it. Doing what you feel you are called to do. Holding the what, the thing, the dream in your heart. And letting go of the how. Letting go and giving the God, the creative force of the universe, permission to move forward. It is all about giving that in you that inspired the dream free rein to create the reality of it. Sometimes we need to just look up. Sometimes we need to go within. To take our mind off the stuff that seems right there, so close, so threatening. And to know that there is something more. I have a place I go when I need to feel inspired or whole or at one with something bigger than whatever it is that's going on in my life in the moment. I'll bet you can guess where it is. I close my eyes and I see a trail that leads through some magnificent trees. And I imagine myself once again walking the path from one amazing example of God's work to another. From little saplings nestled in fern grottos to cathedral circles and to giant trees older than any memory in the mind of man. And I remember the healings that took place there and the miracles that followed when I came out of the woods. And I am renewed and redeemed. I know it takes courage to come out of the woods. I know that. It takes an inner strength that no one else can give you. And it takes commitment to be that person in the world. And you probably will, disturb some people. People who knew you when. Some will shake their heads and mutter about how you've changed and then wander aimlessly back into their own dark woods, afraid to come out, afraid to be who they are meant to be. But some will see, and some will hear, and some will follow, and some will come out of the woods and stand with you in the light and in the power of God. And in that moment you will realize that you have in your own unique world, you will have changed the world for good. I couldn't be more grateful. Thank you. And God bless you all.
Don't cut it off yet. Don't cut it off yet.
I
Did. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I didn't know you were gonna go early.
I'm not done yet.
Oh, I thought you said goodbye. I'm so sorry.
No. Technical department is getting ahead of me.
Nervous. Nervous. is the
Nervous,
word.
nervous. No.
I hadn't posted the closing.
So here's my question to you tonight. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do in the world? What are you waiting for? There's a perfect pattern. Your dreams are, in fact, and I believe this with all of my heart, your dreams and your aspirations are the blueprint for your future. They are Spirit's way of speaking to you and drawing you pictures and ideas and thoughts and yearnings that will get you motivated and head you in that direction. There is a perfect blueprint within you that will be revealed if you stay awake. If you stay awake. I do believe we each have a place. Sometimes it's in our memories, sometimes it's in our backyard. But we each have a place. Somewhere we can go to be who we are, or to grow into who we are, or to heal what we need to heal to become what we are. And I believe each of us will find it if we stay awake. This is getting to be my favorite reading on Wednesdays, but I love it. Rumi says, out beyond ideas of right doing and wrong doing, there's a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the door sill where two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. So Tina asked, when was the last time I went to the Redwoods? Actually went there, geographically went there? Not sure. It's been a while. But I go there all the time. I have it in my heart and in my memory now, and I can't be without it. When I walk on the treadmill, I close my eyes and I walk that path. I know every tree, every bush. It's a magnificent place, and I hold it in my heart. So here we are. Here we are. Oh, maybe it's time for another visit, and then again, I really do feel like I'm there all the time. And I love being with my trees, so we all have a place, don't we? Or several places. I can come to the same sense very easily now, sitting out on our side patio and looking at the garden and watching my hummingbirds. And I'm at peace. And that's really what we're talking about, is a place that takes you to that place where you can let go of the strife and the chaos and the confusion and the blah, blah, blah of the world and be at peace. If you don't have such a place, find one. Even if you have to make it up. You can do that. You've seen trees, you've seen the ocean. The ocean is a wonderful place to go and be. And you need to hold it in your heart. You need to have that place in your heart, in your spirit, so that in those times when you cannot physically get to it, you can still go there. It's pretty amazing. And it's very healing. I invite everyone to create such a space. And yes, Tina, your point is well taken. The airline speech. You have to take care of yourself first, or you can't take care of others. Eventually you're depleted and there's nothing left, and then whatever good you thought only you could do is not getting done, or somebody steps in and proves that in fact they could have done it all along and you could have had some time off. You have to take care of your own spirit. And there are so many beautiful places on this earth. Which is why I was so taken by that picture of the New York skyline tonight. New York, one of the busiest, overpopulated, crazy cities in the entire world. And yet just above it, if you took the time, there was heaven. There was serenity and peace and beauty and a sense of belonging and a sense that the world was going to be all right if you took the time. So it is to a great extent a matter of taking the time, of realizing that there is a place for all of us, even if it's right where you are right now. Look up. I could look up to the trees. My friend could look up to the moon. Find your place. And when you get there, pray. When you get to that place, in your heart, in your spirit, wherever you are, that's the time to pray. That's the time to realize that you are never more than a thought away from the power for good in the universe. So let's take a moment and go there. Shall we? Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or just soft focus, or look up. And know that there is a power, a healing power, a peaceful power, an amazing, unlimited power in the universe. And you can and do use it. You are no farther from God than your next thought. If there is any separation at all, it is in our own minds, and we can close that space and be with God, in any moment. Breathe. Just breathe. Breathe in and realize that as you breathe in, you are breathing in spirit, power, illumination, healing, peace. And as you exhale, recognize that you are exhaling anything within you that does not accept that. Anything within you that wants to deny that. You are one with God. Jesus said, the Father and I are one. He didn't see there's a great big God over there that can do absolutely everything, and then there's me here, and oh yeah, I'm more connected than the rest of you. He said, no, the things that I do and greater things will you do if you believe. If you believe. We all believe. What shall we choose to believe in? Let us believe that we are one with the power in the universe. One with the stars and the moon and the sun. One with love, one with peace, one with wholeness, one with joy. And let us accept that as our only belief, and allow everything else to come to us. Your dreams, your aspirations are the blueprint for tomorrow. Believe in that. And believe that within you is all the power necessary to create, to build out of that blueprint the very facts of your life. Accept nothing less. Be something more. There is a power for good in the universe. Be that. Be the reality of spirit on earth. I am so grateful for the realization of that which is our divine inheritance, for the healings that take place tonight, for the reality that is exposed tonight, for the lives that are changed tonight, for the peace, the comfort, the joy that is experienced tonight. And in deepest gratitude, recognizing that my word and my belief has power just as does yours, just as did that of Jesus. We let it be so. And so it is. We have a closing song. I'm glad. They always make me happy. And I'm always amazed to see what our songstress comes up with. Have a wonderful rest of your week. This is just the middle. Imagine what you can do with the rest of it. I'll be here Sunday at noon. Please come join me. And of course next Wednesday again at 7. Have the most fabulous week. Be the most fabulous you can be. And know that wherever you go with God. Because in fact you can go no other way. Have a beautiful evening, beautiful people.